Digimon Story Time Stranger, the new monster taming role-playing game in the iconic Digimon stories, is the best game in the series so far. I grew up on the Digimon series, with the first 3 seasons holding a really special place in my heart. They were unlike anything else around them at the time, bringing together the action and adventure centered on a group of kids and their companion creatures. It was also unafraid to deal with darker subject matter in often surprising ways. While the game takes a bit to get going, the narrative is full of heart, while tackling some genuinely serious subject matter like death, loss, trauma, alcoholism, and responsibility. The battles and monster catching systems are great, even if the boss battles can overstay their welcome. It's a great new chapter in the franchise. The new entry in the Digimon Story franchise is the first since 2017's Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. Time Stranger focuses on an operative of a shadow organization called Adamas, tasked with keeping the public safe from supernatural threats. After choosing between a male or female character, with the other acting as your source of information and support, you're quickly thrust into the midst of the chaos. Shinjuku is under attack by mysterious forces, as the agent tries to figure out what's going on. A massive explosion that will become to known as the Shinjuku Inferno goes off, almost destroying the present while sending the agent 8 years into the past. Now it's up to the agent to stop the upcoming tragedy, while learning more about the Digimon at the center of it all. That's not all though, as after a handful of hours the agent ends up in the digital world of Iliad, wrapped up in a civil war between the Digimon in power and a faction known as the Titans. As the story unfolds, both sides of the game start to tie together, even more so as you start to travel more through time to right wrongs before they even happen. It's a really fun narrative that ranks among the franchise's best. Not everything is always as it seems. It feels like a blend between Digimon Adventure and Digimon Tamers, capturing the feeling of adventure across the digital world from the first, and the general melancholy and serious topics found in the latter. It just takes a while to get going, as the first chunk of the story happens in the human world. It's not bad by any means, but it takes a while to reach the digital world, and a lot of the environments in the first handful of hours are relegated to sewers and city streets. It lacks the biodiversity and snappier pacing that Iliad brings later on, where one section is an industrial mine while the next gives way to beaches and cliffs. The first handful of hours are still good, and just as you start to tire of the same locations, the game brings you to the digital world, a proper first for the franchise as the Cyber Sleuth games mostly took place in a form of the internet. As you get to a new area, you're tasked with stopping the Titan threat, learning more about the inhabitants of the area and the conflict between the Digimon and the Titans. You can knock out side quests along the way, which are usually just fetch quests or combat scenarios. They're pretty basic in their execution, but can have some pretty cool follow-ups as you return to areas in the future. One side quest, for example, has you destroying beehives due to a supposed Titan threat. Coming back later in the future, and the bee Digimon are looking for the force that destroyed their homes years ago, out for revenge. Even if the actual gameplay is fairly straightforward, Digimon Story Time Stranger plays with the narrative in fun and sometimes unexpected ways, using that time mechanic to its full potential. The Digimon are the stars of the show here, as combat pits 3 Digimon on your side versus the opponent in turn-based battles. Each Digimon has a type and elemental affinity, with some types being weak to others. It's a standard weapon triangle, where vaccine Digimon are stronger against viruses, viruses being strong against data, and data crushing vaccines. There are some other types that are more neutral, doing less damage but also taking less. Elemental affinity also plays in here, as if the damage output can multiply if the Digimon taking the hit is also weak to the element of the attack. You get choice between 3 starter Digimon representing the major 3 types: Patamon for data, Gomamon for vaccine, and Demidevimon for virus. Patamon is my favorite Digimon, so seeing it here as a starter made me very excited, with the GOAT getting the respect they deserve. Battles are usually quick and snappy, even if they settle pretty quickly into a rhythm. Your team can be made up of 6 Digimon, with 3 waiting in the wings. You can swap Digimon in and out quickly and painlessly, augmenting the type of team depending on the enemies in front of you. Both swapping Digimon and using items can be done without losing that Digimon's action, letting the pace of combat flow effortlessly without loss of momentum. You can also hit enemies from the field with the Digi attack to gain priority in the battle and knock some damage before they can even attack. Your whole team also gets experience from every win, both the active party members and the members that are back in your box, allowing for experimentation in your combat and your team very easily. The issues with the combat are fairly standard fare in role-playing games. The game tells you what the opposing Digimon is weak to if you've encountered them before, meaning combat is usually just clicking the most damage-dealing option. It can get a bit monotonous at times, especially with boss battles. Playing on normal difficulty, I didn't really have any trouble with much of the fights, but they can sometimes just take forever. Some boss battles took 20 to 30 minutes, where the boss Digimon couldn't KO my team, but it had such a huge health pool that whittling it down just took a while, especially when I was using the same handful of attacks over and over again. The game has auto battle and fight speed mechanics that I did end up using against simpler enemies, turning up the speed to get the battle over quickly and letting the computer crush through simple fights. You can heal quickly out of battle, as you just need to stand still for a few seconds to heal your team up entirely. Because you can heal so easily though, you don't really need to worry as much about HP or SP management in the actual fight, as you can just heal easily right after. It's obviously much more important in boss fights as they can go on for a while, where item management becomes much more necessary. These battles can be epic and fun, and as the game goes on, they do start to play with weaknesses as some bosses change what they're weak to, making the player change strategy. The fights can be awesome, but more often than not, the flow of combat can get pretty similar. As you beat Digimon, the conversion rates go up. As soon as it hits 100%, you can convert the Digimon to join your team. If you wait until 200%, the resulting Digimon is even stronger. Of course, a Digimon game wouldn't be complete without Digivolution, and it's still one of my favorite mechanics here. Digivolving into new forms means you have to satisfy the requirements, usually centered around the agent's level and the stats of the Digimon itself. To hit Champion, for example, the agent has to be at the 3rd level, and Digimon needs some specific mix of stats. Each Digimon has multiple possible evolutionary pathways, and you can Digivolve and de-Digivolve at will. So if you end up with the Digimon you don't want, or you want to raise them even more so in their previous level, it's really easy to go back. It's a really fluid system that lets players make their dream team. You can also send Digimon to the Digifarm where they can train specific stats. My Patamon, for example, needed more of the intellectual stat to Digivolve to Angemon. I brought Patamon into the Digifarm and set its training for that specific stat. It takes 30 real-world minutes for the training to complete, but it is possible to bring that timer lower. You can leave plenty of Digimon here at the same time, meaning you can easily get the Digivolution results that you're looking for at the cost of time. Digimon Story Time Stranger also includes a card game minigame that can be played with select NPCs. It is a pretty bare-bones inclusion as you collect cards. It looks really awesome, reviving that old-school Digivice battle feeling from all those years ago, but the system itself is pretty random. You play cards just like their actual Digimon counterparts that have different types with different power ratings going from 1 to 7, with a quote-unquote bug where level 1 cards have a higher win chance against level 7s. The higher the card and the better the matchup, the higher the likelihood is that you'll win, with the overall winning being the majority of a best of 5 rounds. Win enough rounds and you can claim cards from the opponent. The thing is, the entire win system is almost random. Your card matchup and power do influence it, but anyone can win any matchup. There is some level of strategy here, but it's mostly just luck. You can't deck build or influence the cards in any way, and I had plenty of head-scratching wins where I should have lost, or vice versa, with the outcome coming down just to dumb luck. Once you meet the card game on its own terms, it can be fun, but it's disappointing given the success of the actual real-life Digimon card game over the last few years. While it's fun to see the throwback to the Tamagotchi-style Digivices of the past, the cards themselves being a throwback to the early card game, it's ultimately a miss given what it could have been. Graphically, Digimon Story Time Stranger looks pretty good. The character models of Digimon themselves look great, with the signature attack animations for each Digimon being particular standouts. The environment can look dated, but it mostly works. Performance can be a bit wonky though, as the frame rate stays at a mostly solid 30 frames per second despite being on PS5 Pro, with some frame drops along the way. Digimon in the environment, especially at a distance, can see drops in frames often. Pop-in is also a recurring issue. It was never game-breaking or really affecting the gameplay that much by any stretch, but some patches should help iron out the performance. Overall, Digimon Story Time Stranger is a great entry into the franchise. The story is a blast, the characters are interesting, and the actual fights themselves are mostly fun. While performance can be a bit wonky, graphically it's still the best looking Digimon game to date. For fans of the franchise, or for anyone looking for a fun creature-catching RPG, it's a fantastic adventure through the digital world that nails the unique magic of the series. Thanks for watching.